like to welcome you to my office here in the second month of the legislative session. It's been a couple weeks since we touched base, but I thought it was time to give you an overview of what's happening here at the Capitol. It's been a very busy last couple weeks when it comes to the Board of Regents. I serve on higher education, and one of our responsibilities is to interview and select the new Board of Regents. District 1, currently represented by Dr. Patty Simmons, was one of the vacancies, and so I've been interviewing not only District 1 applicants, but also applicants for all of the positions. The Joint Committee, House and Senate Committee on Higher Education met to interview the candidates, and we were unable to come to agreement on 2 of the 5 seats. So we are forwarding, instead of 5 names to the floor for the larger body to vote, we are forwarding 7 names. In a kind of odd turn of events, the District 1 candidate, Claire Bender, that was running for office, stepped down and said this really wasn't, I think, what she thought it would be, particularly the interview process, which is rather grueling. She decided it wasn't for her. And so several other persons applied, and at the end of the day, the Joint Committee recommended Dr. Patty Simmons to continue on for a 3rd term, and Randy Simonson was also recommended to go to the floor. And so a similar turn of events happened in District 3. We had 4 candidates at the end of the joint convention, and we narrowed that down to 2 as well. So it will remain to be seen that everything is open back up again when we get to the floor. So names can come from the floor. Sometimes there are surprises. And so in the next few weeks, we will take that up, and hopefully we'll have a District 1 and other representatives on the Board of Regents. Also, something in the news that's been a little controversial has been the governor's decision to increase salaries for his commissioners and some of his other staff. I can say it was a great surprise to myself and the other legislators, as there really wasn't a discussion about whether we should do this and how much it would be. The governor does have the authority to do it, and he took that authority as governor to provide those increases. And I would say there are many of us that are a little concerned, and more than a little concerned, about the size of some of those increases and that they were done at one time rather than graduated in over time. So I've heard from some of you that you're concerned, so am I, but it really is outside of the control of the legislative body and in the hands of the governor. That could change sometime in the future, but for now, that's what we have to deal with. I also have had the usual floor sessions and committee hearings. Things have been very slow as far as the number of bills that are being heard, and we have done very little work on the floor, although moving paper is important at the early part of the session. I have had 4 bills heard of my own so far this year. 1 is informational, and the other 3 are of a more serious and will either be laid over for possible inclusion or voted to the next committee. And one of those I'll share with you was this week, and it was on family law reform. There are a group of us that have been in mediation with all the players for the last 2.5 years, and we now have a package of what started as 15 bills and is now narrowed down to 5 or 6 to really reform family law and try to provide an easier and more fair custody situation for persons in contested divorces. So you'll hear more about that as time rolls on, but I'm very pleased to say that these mediated bills have received very strong support in all the committees, both from committee members but also constituencies who have come to the table. The Destination Medical Center bill has its hearing next week, and that too looks like it will be non-controversial unless someone chooses to put odd amendments on it. But what that does is protect the Rochester citizenry from having additional taxes or responsibility for funding the Economic Development Agency, and keeps that within the 128 that we have already given the city as their responsibility, and they're part of Destination Medical Center. I also am carrying a couple bills for the Rochester Public Schools, and also some independent bills from Rochester citizens who have brought concerns forward. I'll get into those perhaps at a future time, but I've been keeping very busy, and even though we haven't had a lot of bill hearings yet, it does take quite a bit of work to actually get those bills in a form that is going to be supported by all constituencies when they get to the committee. So I spent several hours this morning working on a DUI and ignition interlock bill. Hopefully by the end of the week or early next week that will finally be filed, and I can share a little bit more about that with you in the future. For now, we'll just cut this short and say thank you for watching, and until next time.